Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to Life's Journey with Benedicta. Hello. I am live on my YouTube channel www.youtube.com/Tastebudzng, and I am live on my Instagram. Hello, Shakima. Hi, thank you for joining in. I am Biso Luabi. Hello. Hello, I am Biso Luabi. Thank you for joining in. Hello, Miss _ Lotana. Thank you for joining in. Nonas _ Empire. Thank you for joining in. Dossie _ Jazzy Bleeze. Thank you for joining in. And Binta, my sister. Binta, I haven't spoken to you in a while. I've been so busy, it's crazy. I hope you're doing great. Thank you, Binta, for joining in. Thank you, Binta. Lover boy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. I'm so glad that we can all make it, despite the fact that it's quite late here in Nigeria. And this is Life's Journey with Benedicta. If you're joining us for the very first time, this is a show or a series that we have every Saturday. I think we haven't missed more than 3 Saturdays in over a year that I started Life's Journey. I haven't missed more than 3 Saturdays in nearly 17 months of Life's Journey. So you can catch up on our previous topics on Life's Journey on my YouTube channel, which is www.youtube.com/Tastebudzng. Catch up on our previous topics, watch them, drop your comments, let us know what you think about them. Here on Life's Journey, we come to discuss topical issues, matters that are arising in our society, situations that we find ourselves in, and we try to listen to these stories, we try to learn from them, we try to find out how events like this can be prevented if it is a bad one, and if it is something positive, we try to take the positivity from it and learn from it. Like I would always say, you do not need to experience a bad situation in order for you to learn from it. You can always learn from some other person's misfortune, as sad as it is. That is what Life's Journey is all about. And on today's topic, we will be discussing sacred cows in our educational system. And the educational system I'm talking about is here in Nigeria. I know every country has its own peculiarities, every country has its own challenges. So on today's topic, I am discussing sacred cows in the Nigerian educational system. What is a sacred cow? The word sacred cow was gotten from the Hindu, meaning, in Hindu, cows are untouchable. They are sacred. They are worshipped. You can't touch them. They are above the law. There is nothing a cow will do in the Hindu religion that will warrant you to hurt, harm, or kill that cow. So the word sacred was gotten from the Hindu religion. So who are the sacred cows in our educational system in Nigeria? Why do we seemingly have these sacred cows? Are we the ones funding it? Are we the reasons why this sacred cow, in quote, exists in our educational system? We have students from rich homes that can be touched, that can be disciplined, that can be rusticated, that can be suspended, that can't be cautioned. We have sacred school administrators that can't be disciplined, they can't be cautioned, they can't be expelled. Why do we have these situations? Why? So, sacred, not secret. Sacred, untouchable people. People you cannot touch in our educational system. There are some schools that are so highly placed because of the clientele level. These schools are sacred. I believe the ministries of education, the government, the security agencies cannot touch them. There are some institutions like that in our society, and we are aware of this situation. You see, the reason why we have this situation, or rather we are facing this malady, is because of our hypocrisy as a people. Hypocrisy as a people. I'm not excluded. I am a Nigerian, because when I say Nigerians are not a bunch of Ghanaians or people from Cotonou or from England that makes up the Nigerian populace. I am a Nigerian, so I am equally guilty. We all living in this country and funding these practices are equally guilty. Now, we might not directly be funding these practices. We might not directly be engaged in supporting these practices. But because we have chosen to remain silent, our silence is what is fueling these evil practices. So it is not good enough for us to say, oh, I didn't do anything. I am not supporting any school, any institution, any student, or any academic staff to be a sacred cow. Oh, I'm not supporting. Your silence when you see evil go unpunished has already made you guilty. You are guilty by default. You not speaking up, you not speaking out when you see, when you hear of injustices happening in our educational system, your silence, despite the fact that you are knowledgeable of what is going on, has already made you an accomplice. And that is why I say, I am also guilty. We are all guilty. And it is bad enough for us to say, fine, we have missed our way as parents along the line. We have missed our way as custodians of the future generation, as parents, as guardians, as people responsible for nurturing and educating the future generation. We have erred. It is bad enough for us to know that we have erred. I mean, it is enough for us to know that we have erred and decide this moment to take our seat, sit down on the driver's position and say, good, we have erred, enough, it's enough. It's now time for us to amend all our wrongs. As parents, as custodians of the future generation, we are no longer going to sit back and allow these abnormalities, allow this evil to continue to happen in our schools. We all have to speak up. We all have to speak out in whatever capacity that we can, in order for these activities to stop. It hurts me so much when I read about the Karen girl, the late Karen, may her soul rest in peace, the late 14-year-old Karen that was abused in that premier college in Abuja. I heard the school has been reopened. They even conducted their inter-house sports not too long ago, and they have moved on like nothing happened. Now, I am not saying that the school should not have been reopened, but what I am saying is whoever was responsible for the evil, for the abuse that led to the death of that 14-year-old Karen has not been brought forward. We are yet to hear breaking news. The person responsible for the evil act that was done on late Karen has been found and has been charged to court or has been arrested by the police. That is what I was expecting to hear before the reopening of Premier College Abuja. But nobody has announced that. We are still waiting. The story is, there's ongoing investigation. We do not want to hear it a second time with the late Sylvester. Investigation is ongoing. An investigation that has no end. Investigation that yields no results. Investigation that yields no answers to unanswered questions, and yet the school is reopened and it is business. It is business as usual. It is not enough to shut down a school. We have seen that with Premier College Abuja. The school was shut down, the school was reopened. Nobody was apprehended. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was brought forward for what happened to that young 14-year-old Karen. May her soul rest in peace. And may the good Lord give the family the fortitude to bear her loss. I can only imagine what the mom will be going through. She is scarred for life. Some of us have never experienced what it feels like to lose a loved one at such a young age. And I pray you never experience it. Nobody has been brought forward as of today. Nobody has been brought forward as the culprit behind what happened to the late Karen. The school has been reopened. It's business as usual. So we do not want to hear the same story with late Sylvester. We want answers. We want answers. We want to know what truly happened in that school. We know for a fact that he was bullied, in as much as the school administration came before the press as reported in the news. They brazenly denied the allegation. They said it was mere allegations, that nothing of such magnitude happened on their school premises. But the late Sylvester, on his deathbed, said exactly what happened, that he was bullied and beaten by those students. So it is painful for me as a mom to watch a school that was meant to act as custodians of this minor say this, to brazenly deny this accusation. I mean, it would have been fair enough for them to say, okay, we are aware that bullying did take place. We don't know the details. We are going to investigate, but we are assuring the family and the public that we are going to investigate to find out the students responsible for this, and once we do, we are going to bring those students forward. That is what a responsible institution of education, an institution, should do. And that is what we were expecting, the least we were expecting from them. It was sad enough that when the boy was ill, when late Sylvester was ill, he wasn't immediately rushed to a very good hospital. He wasn't immediately rushed to a hospital. They were waiting for his parents to come all the way from Warri to pick him up. Reports have it that they were waiting for the parents to come from Warri to pick him up and take him to a hospital. Why? Why did they have to wait? I believe that if medical attention, good medical care was given to that boy immediately, he might have survived this. All that waiting for the parents to fly in from Warri in a country where we know how difficult it can be to secure tickets. Sometimes you are at the airport for a ticket you've already purchased. You are at the airport from morning up until 3 p.m. only for you to hear that that flight has been cancelled and has been moved to the next day. So were we expecting the parents to fly in with a private jet upon hearing that their son was indisposed? Mind you, these secondary schools have exorbitant tuition fees, of which, as a parent of 4 grown-up children and having gone through the system, through the boarding educational system and through the day school educational system, I can tell you for free that they are not cheap. And in the school tuition, there is provision for medical care. So why was he not giving medical attention while they were waiting for his parents to arrive from Warri, from China, from wherever? The school was the custodian of the late Sylvester. And as custodians of minor, we know where the law stands. He was a minor and he was in your care. So whether the parents came early or the parents came late was not an excuse. Your duty as custodians was to protect, to secure, to nurture, to educate that child in the absence of his parents. When you drop your child off in boarding school, you're made to fill a form. Sign the date, time at which that child is being dropped off. The reason why you're signing this is because it is a formal handover. You're signing off your ward, you're signing off your child to the management of the school for them to care for that child until whenever you return to sign and pick him up again. That is what the boarding school pickup card is for. I also have children that have graduated through boarding schools. That is story for another day. Not that I wasn't satisfied with the way the boarding institution is being run. So if you ask me for free, I will tell you that a very good day school is the best form of secondary school education for your child here in Nigeria. I can tell you that for free, because I have been through the boarding system as a parent, and I have been through the day school system as a parent. And I can tell you there are so many abnormalities, so many anomalies that parents tend to overlook. Sometimes they fight it until they no longer fight it. Sometimes they fight it and they don't make any headway and they give up. Sometimes they fight it, and when they see that it is not working, they just quietly withdraw their child to another school and leave the fight for another parent to continue in future. So are we going to keep hopping from one school to another school, paying the exorbitant registration fees because we are not satisfied with the sorry, Daddy Freeze is trying to join. I'm trying to bring him on, but I'm finding it difficult. Okay, yes, this is it. There is need to be laws of bullying. Yes, Sean_deeds. Hello, Daddy Freeze.
Hi, how are you doing? You're back here.
Great.
Great topic you're having this morning.
Thank you.
Today's got full mom. She has a 6-year-old baby and a 19-year-old, almost 20-year-old adult. So guys, I support her and share your perspective, right? Because from her, I don't think hear her out. We're talking to one of our children today on bullying, and so many things we've heard. She was there with me. I was the one talking to our daughter, and she was there listening and chipping in, and it was really, really, really scary what is going on in schools today, and that parents of rich students can't really spares of richness cover up so much. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Listen to Tastebudz. Let me not say anything. I can just wait in the background for a few minutes. You continue to talking. I'm listening here. In fact, I
So that was Daddy Freeze. Okay. So back to what I was saying. We as parents, we are responsible for funding these ideologies, these practices of having sacred cows that are untouchable in our educational system. Either because we feel the parents are well-to-do, we don't have what it takes, I'm trying to take you out because of the demarcation, but I can't. Okay, so we are funding it. So it is left for us to collectively speak out, to collectively speak up against these practices. Like I was saying, sometimes you find a parent struggling so hard to fight the system, in a particular school. He or she is not just doing it for her ward, he or she is not just doing it for her child, but she is doing it even for future children that might be experiencing what his or her child is going through. The fight for justice, the fight for late Sylvester is not just for late Sylvester. It is for every child that has lost his or her life in the act of bullying. It's for every child that has been violated, every child that has been a victim, and for every child that might be a victim tomorrow. A lot of us, I'm seeing people on the comment section on Insta blog, they're all saying, Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ o. God will not allow us to be in a situation whereby we are helpless. God will not allow us to be in a situation whereby we have to fly within 24 hours to go and get our child from the school. The Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́, God will not allow, is if you get up and act. There are certain things that do not need prayers. You don't need to pray this. You need to act this so it doesn't happen to you, so it doesn't happen to somebody you know. It could have been anybody's child. It could have been anybody's child and not late Sylvester. So don't wait until this tragic situation knocks on your door or knocks on the door of somebody you know before you act. It might be too late. I remember when I read this story, the first thing that came to my mind was like, oh my God, Daddy Freeze, you remember? We almost put Amarachi there. We almost put my daughter there. She went there for JSS2 examination. She wrote the exam, she smashed it. They gave us I remember they gave us the payment forms, how much we were to pay and all that. So we were in the process of going to the admin to make further inquiries on pairs of uniforms to be bought, books, and all of those things, because we wanted her to be a day student. When we got information from a family friend, a friend of ours, that just withdrew her son from Darwin College. She just withdrew her son, and she told us the reason why she withdrew her son. We were speechless. We couldn't talk. And I was like, oh my goodness, this information could not have been coming at a better time. And immediately, that was just how we changed our mind immediately, there and there on the spot. We made a quick U-turn and we left the school premises with Amarachi. So I am not saying that every other school is perfect and Darwin College is the worst school in Lagos. You see, for something to be brought to the fore like this, it always takes one person to fall. It always takes one person to falter, okay? What we've just seen that happened in Darwin College is going on in so many schools. I just told you about the carrying story of the Premier College in Abuja That is just one of the many cases that are going on.
Absolutely.
So if we do not stand up together in unison as one voice to fight this sacred cow mentality in our educational system, this can happen to you, it can happen to somebody you know. There is nothing like Olonwunije. It can happen to anybody. As long as you are a parent or you intend to be a parent and you want to educate your child in this country, it is your duty, it is your civic responsibility to speak out. And that is why I say, you are guilty, I am guilty. We are all guilty. We are all guilty. Those of us that directly to speak out. There was something that happened in one of the schools that my children attended, one of the boarding schools my son attended. And I took it up legally. The matter is before the High Court of Lagos now. And that is because I felt that I was wronged, right? And the debate it's an academic debate. It is up as an academic debate. But I don't want another parent to be wronged the way that I was. The pain they put me through, what I went through, they thought they were just going to do whatever they wanted to do and get away with it, you know. This is Nigeria. I mean, the boy is old, he's going to be graduating or he has graduated, there is no need, you know. So I felt wronged and I took it up in court. So sometimes you fight not just for yourself. Sometimes you fight not just for yourself, but you fight for the good of other children. You fight for the welfare of other parents, for the safety of other children. Because your failure not to do anything about it, not to stand up against the wrong, your failure not to stand up against the injustice is going to rub off on so many children coming after your own children or after your own child. So please, let us not keep saying prayers of God forbid, Olonwunije, it's not my portion, may we not see this.
I want to say something. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Now, for me to say something, I want you to do exactly what I did. Mute your mic and mute your video. Can you see the little buttons?
Yes.
Let the breeze blow you a little, so I'm just going to say something for 2 minutes. Okay?
I should mute my mic.
Yes. Allow breeze to blow you for a bit. Let me talk.
Okay, sorry, where is the mic? Is it the one down?
Yeah, it's right along the middle line. You see mic, you see video. Or just leave it. Let me just say what I want to say here. You see, oh, you just went up and came right back. Okay, let me not take much of your time. This is a very important subject. And you see, sometimes we're guilty, not because of what we do, but because of what
We failed to do. Yeah.
And this is the most important conversation that we're not having. You have kids. You have 12-year-olds. You have 5-year-olds. You have 10-year-olds. You have 18-year-olds. Your children are going to also experience some level of bullying. It's worse abroad. Your abroad is not bullying. We're just hearing the story of the shooting. The shooters are abroad. It's not okay when you see it. You see, there's some things we run away from in Nigeria and don't expect. For instance, female genital mutilation. If you miss it in Nigeria, don't worry, it's not happening. But there's some things that are rampant across the world, and bullying in school is definitely one of them. Your silence endangering the life of, if not your own child, your grandchild. Because we all need to stand together to fight this deadly scourge. And this sacred cow mentality, because she's a deacon in our church, because I know her friend, it has to stop. That is all I want to say here. When I have over back to but that's all I want to say. Okay? It's very important. I don't want to interrupt today. I want you to have the floor, but I want to reinforce this. Let people know how dangerous what they're doing is to the life of the people.
Thank you, Daddy Freeze. Thank you.
So I'm off now, guys. Enjoy the
Thank you. So that is it. In a nutshell, what we fail to do sometimes is what has led us to the situation that we are currently in. So we have to start asking ourselves as adults, as custodians of the future generation, as parents, what have we failed to do in the past? And how do we start amending those wrongs? What is it that we are meant to do that we aren't doing at the moment? What are those things that we are meant to do to safeguard the future of our children? There is no part of the world where you go to that you will not find bullying in one form or the other. But my quest here is that anti-bullying regulations should be enforced in every institution of learning. Anti-bullying regulations, anti-bullying laws should be enforced in every institution of learning. The agencies responsible for accreditation of institutions of learning in Nigeria should sit up. They should become more vigilant. They should raise a red flag if they find any school defaulting, irrespective of who the owner of the school is, irrespective of who the board of directors of that organization or that institution are. Raise the red flag. Shut down the school if they do not conform to the approved requirements. If they do not meet up, shut that school down. We don't want to know who attends the school. We don't want to know who owns the school. We don't want to know who runs the show. We shouldn't have sacred cows when it comes to ownership of institutions of learning. We shouldn't have sacred cows when it comes to the type of students that are enrolled in that institution. If a particular school has anti-bullying laws, those laws should be enforced across board for every student that comes into that school. I am aware that most secondary schools, if not all secondary schools, have rule book. They have rule books that are handed down to students upon admission. And you're meant to sign as a student that you have read and you understand all the rules and regulations that has been laid down by the school. So a student putting down his or her signature on that form has agreed to all the laws that the school has laid down. So if you find such a student defaulting, please let them go. If the offense is meant to be punishable by suspension, rustication, then that is what should be applied across the board. We don't want to know which parent is cutting out the checks for school projects. There is a swimming pool project in the school, there is an amphitheater project, there is a foreign trip project. Oh, we need parents to donate, we need parents to contribute, and the parents that cut out those huge amounts of money, those generous, financially generous parents, are suddenly exempted from the school's rules and regulations. When they find their children defaulting, they try to cover up for it. There are so many schools where they have rules that teachers are not meant to collect monetary gifts from parents of students. But we find teachers defaulting, and the school authorities look the other way, either because the teacher is a fantastic math teacher or the teacher is related to the owner of the school. That teacher is exempted. That teacher is not punished for collecting monetary gifts from a parent. When you run a school where teachers are allowed to collect monetary gifts from parents, it is going to be so difficult to enforce laws in such schools, especially anti-bullying laws, because that particular teacher or that particular house mistress is going to cover up a child that he or she knows she collects tips from the parents. I remember my children going to a fantastic primary school in Port Harcourt then, where there was a law in the school that no teacher should collect monetary gift or whatever gift from any parent. So if you want to make a gift or you want to present a gift to a particular teacher, you have to wait until, I think it is the 6th of June every year. They call it Teachers Appreciation Day. So whatever it is you know you want to give to that teacher to show your appreciation for their effort as a good teacher, you have to wait until the 6th of June. And you have to make that gift public. You present it to the teacher. After the 6th of June, you are allowed, you are not authorized to present any gift to any teacher or any academic or non-academic staff. If a teacher is caught collecting gifts, be it monetary, food, whatever, that teacher will be relieved of his or her job. It was a beautiful school. So I will say this for free, we still have some good schools out there that uphold moral values. They are very few, but they are out there. So we are pleading with every citizen of this country to stand up together with one voice to fight this evil in our society. We have to fight this hypocrisy that has led us into this quagmire that we're in. We are in a muddle puddle. Children, minors, innocent lives being snuffed out while we sit back and we watch. The school authorities have to do better. Primary institutions of learning, secondary institutions of learning, you are in charge minors. We are not talking about the tertiary institution where we have adults. We are talking about pre-primary, primary, and secondary institutions of learning. You have so much to do. There is so much reformation that needs to go into this educational system. And we are pleading with the government to do something about it. We are pleading with the Ministry of Education to do something about it. We cannot continue losing innocent lives. Any school that is defaulting should be shut down. We don't want to have sacred cows anymore. We don't want to have institutions of learning that are sacred. They are untouchable. It is too upsetting. People are hurt. But I don't just want us to sit down and cry. Then say, I where they cry, they see road. Let us not sit down and cry over this like we cried over Karen. And nothing was done. Whoever did that to late Karen is still walking free. Let's not just cry and clean our eyes for late Sylvester. Let us get justice for late Sylvester. By getting justice for late Sylvester, we are preventing a situation like this from arising in future. Remember, today it is late Sylvester. Tomorrow it can even come closer home. Some people will shout, God forbid now. The God forbid is for us to stand up and act. We are demanding that we do not just want the school to be shut down and reopened. We want the culprits to be brought to book. We want the school to publicly apologize to the family of late Sylvester. We want the school to apologize to the public for brazenly denying that such a thing happened. It isn't fair. A child on his deathbed cannot just lie. He mentioned the names of the perpetrators. Why haven't they been brought in for questioning? If they are minors and they are below 18, why are their custodians? Why haven't they been brought in for questioning? Are they sacred cows? Are they untouchable? This is somebody's child we're talking here. Most of us here are parents. Most of us here want to be parents. This sacred cow syndrome, it has to stop. Please. It has to stop. I know what I have seen in my 19 years of being a parent. I have gone through primary schools, secondary schools, different administrations of institutions of learning. I have dealt with the good, I have dealt with the bad, I have dealt with the ugly. And I can tell you that in so many schools, the administrative workforce cover up a lot. Now, let me take you back to the Karen story. Are you aware that according to Punch, go and Google it, according to reports, the day late Karen's mom was going to the school to pick up Karen, the late Karen that was molested and eventually died from sepsis as a result of the molestation. She died from sepsis because a used latex contraceptive was seen in her, which was what led to sepsis. And the late Karen passed on as a result of sepsis that was gotten from a used latex protection that was found in her. 2 days, or rather the day the mom was going to Premier College to pick Karen up, because Karen called her mom and said she was in so much pain and the mom should come and take her home, take her to the hospital, that she wasn't feeling well. The mom went to the school to pick up her daughter. On arrival, that was what broke me in the story. On arrival, the school administration told the mom that it wasn't anything serious, that the mom should not bother picking her daughter up, that she should go home, that it's just something minor, that the late Karen will be all right, that the mom should go home. So the mom felt, children, maybe the mom felt she was homesick and she was just playing pranks, she just wanted to come home. And so the mom entered her car, left the Premier College administrative office, entered her car and started driving home. On her way home, her phone rang while she was driving. She picked up the call and it was her daughter, Karen, on the line. She was crying. She said, "Mom, why haven't you come to pick me up? I'm not well. Mommy, come and pick me up." The mother said, "I came to your school. As a matter of fact, I'm just leaving your school. Your school authorities told me that it's not a serious situation, that I should not bother picking you, that they will take care of you and that you'll be all right." The girl busted out into tears and was crying profusely, according to the mom. And she said, "Mom, you don't know why I am even telling you to come back and pick me. Mommy, come now, come and pick me up. Mommy, please, come and pick me up." The mother was worried. And she immediately turned her car a second time and started going back to the school. And on getting to the school, she demanded, this time around, she wasn't having the conversation. She said, "I want my daughter and I want to take her home now." That was it. They released her daughter to her Karen. 2 days after they released the daughter to her, when they got home, the mom saw that the daughter wasn't feeling too well. The daughter kept crying. She switched off the light in her room. She wouldn't talk to anyone. She was in so much pain. And by the next morning, the mother noticed that the face of the child had suddenly changed and the child couldn't even stand anymore. So the mom immediately rushed her child to the hospital. Now, to cut a long story short, the late Karen died 48 hours after her mother picked her up from Premier College, Abuja. She died 48 hours later. So now imagine that the mom had listened to the school official that told her to go home. This is the mother that got a call from the child, her child in school, that, "Mommy, come and pick me home. I am not feeling well." The mother got to the school, and the school told the mother to go, that the child was all right and the child was exaggerating. So the mother would have just gotten a call 48 hours later that your daughter is gone, your daughter is no more. So she would not even have had the opportunity to wish her daughter or to see her daughter for the last time. All this is is a report from the news. So you can Google this up on Punch. If you Google late Karen, 14 years old, Punch newspaper, you're going to see this report. You're going to see the mother's narrative. You're going to read about what the mom said, how her daughter passed on 48 hours after she picked her up from the school. And up until date, no one has been brought forward. No one has been brought forward for the crime that was committed against the late Karen. The school was shut down, the school was reopened. Life has gone back to normal in Premier College, Abuja. So we do not want this situation for late Sylvester. And if we do not want this to happen, just like it happened in the case of late Karen, we all have to speak out. Why am I saying this? I was reading the comment section and somebody said, why did the parent, the first time late Sylvester was bullied, why did the parents not take him seriously? Why did they not believe him? Why did they not withdraw him from the school? I'm a mom, I'm a parent. I've been educating my children now for the past 17 years, and I can tell you that it's not always that easy. Sometimes the school authorities will downplay the situation. They will downplay it for you, the parents, and they will make it look like your child is overreacting. Your child is homesick. Your child just wants to come home. My advice to you today as a parent is, it is better for you to overreact as a parent concerning your child than to underreact and become a statistic. It is better for you to overreact and then go back to the school and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I overreacted. I'm so sorry. Now I have investigated and I can see that it is nothing to worry about." Yes. Oh yes, overreact as a parent and go back and apologize and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry I overreacted." It is better you overreact than to say, when the school authorities told me that there was nothing to worry about, I just let it slide. You let it slide, and then a life is lost, a young life is lost. You will live with that guilt for the rest of your life. Imagine that the late Karen's mom did not turn back her car to the school to pick up her daughter. She proceeded and she continued home. And 48 hours later, they called her to tell her her child has passed on. She is forever going to live with the guilt of not picking up her child. She is forever going to be replaying that scenario where she entered the school admin and they told her, "Go home, madam. Karen is all right. There's nothing to worry about." And she left. She would forever remember that scenario. But she went back. She went back. Luckily for her, Karen was persistent. She called the mom. She said, "Mommy, come back and get me. I don't feel well." And she went back. And when she went back, the house parent now confirmed to the mom that Karen could not walk. So the mom picked her daughter up from school and she could not walk properly. So if the house parent is telling the mom, the house parent is telling the mom, "Your daughter cannot walk, come and pick her." The school admin which is front desk, is telling the mom a different story. Go home, we'll take care of her. She's okay. Can you see that? In every educational system, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly in every educational system. You have the ones that will speak the truth to you as a parent. You have the ones that are too scared to lose their job and they'll rather play along with the school authorities. Or you have the ones that will even undermine the school authority. Because sometimes these schools are actually trying to do good by students and by parents. But unfortunately, they have employed people that are not a true representation of what they stand for as an institution. So it's a two-way thing. Sometimes the management means well, but they have employed wrong hands. Sometimes the management do not mean well. They are after the money. They are just after the money. But they have some honest staff that will tell you, the parents, the truth. So as parents in this day and age, we need to have eyes at the back of our heads. Our ears have to be like antennas. We have to listen. We have to put our ears to the ground to avoid stories that touch. So please, please, please. I'm so happy that I could sit down and do this topic, because for the past 2 days, I've been all tears. I can't believe that I can sit and talk about this, because I have worked myself up to say, look, where they cry, they see road. You can't just be crying, Sylvester is gone, and then you do nothing about it. You have to speak about this. You have to motivate parents, you have to motivate adults, you have to motivate the citizens in whatever capacity that I can. Let us work together as a team. Let us stop this sacred cow ideology, sacred cow behavior in our educational system in Nigeria. Please, enough of the hypocrisy, enough of the silence. Our silence has now become too loud, and our young are losing their lives as a result of this. It is your responsibility to speak out, speak up. I keep telling my children, I say, if you are ever bullied in school, speak out. Talk to your teachers about it. If they won't take you seriously, march to your principal's office, report the incident. Call me on the phone and tell me. If you ever see another child, now this is not you, if you ever see another child being bullied, tell your child to speak up for that child. Your child should report to the authorities concerning that child, because we should realize that we are each other's brothers' keepers. When we teach our children love, when we teach them how to care from the home, when they go out there, not only will they learn to care for themselves, but they will learn to care for people around them. Some children are timid by nature. Some children are not outspoken. They have so much fear in them. They cannot stand up to, or rather stand up against authority. So they will be bullied, they will be pushed around in all directions. So I tell my children, if you find a child that cannot speak up for him or herself, and you know that that child is being maltreated, that child is being bullied, report to the authorities. Let them know. Even if you do not want to disclose your name, let the authorities know that a certain child in a certain class was being bullied. Save that child. And all my children, they listen to me. And sometimes they come home and they tell me, Mommy, do you know in my class, something happened to this girl. This was what happened to this girl. I have made several reports in my children's school concerning different incidents that I've heard about, and I've asked the authorities to investigate without having to put my name on it. Because it is somebody's child. And somebody might do that for your own child someday. So don't say it's not your child. Waiting be my own. Face your front, oh, it no concern you. Where is the love? Where is the love? We are all Christians, we go to church. Hypocrisy will not kill us. I'm a Christian. On Sunday, go and pay your tithe. Sunday, oh, my pastor said this, pastor said that. You can't practice common love. You can't teach your children common love. Care for one another. Be your brother's keeper. Let us stop the hypocrisy. Thank you all for joining us. And please comment in the comment section if you have ideas, if you have solutions, if you know people that can help to bring the culprits to book. Please drop it in the comment section. Drop it in the comment section. You never can know who can do something. If we all work together, the culprits will be brought to book. Sylvester, the late Sylvester, will get justice. The late Karen will get justice. That girl passed on earlier on this year. I have seen perpetrators of evil acts being apprehended many years after the act was done. I am not giving up hope on Karen. I believe that justice will be served. The blood of those children are crying out. We owe them justice. Let their deaths not be in vain. Let it not be in vain, but rather let it put an end to the loss of innocent lives tragically. Thank you all. So see you same time next week. This is Life's Journey. Yes, so Lysic, can Interpol be contacted concerning the 2 boys that were flown out? If we know the country that they flew to, because right now we're still getting the information as rumors. We don't have concrete evidence that they've actually been flown out. And if they've been flown out, we don't even know what country that they have been flown to. Because I believe that children that can commit such an atrocious act, they should be detained in delinquent centers, institution of correctional institution for minors. Even in the States, in the UK, they have correctional institutions for troubled minors. Yes. So you're not doing them good by flying them out of the country. If children can come together to do such an evil act, those children are not mentally stable. They're not mentally okay. You know, here in Nigeria, we tend to downplay a lot of things. There are some children that from a very early age, they can tell that they have psychopathic tendencies. They have zero emotional intelligence. They can't feel empathy. They can't feel sympathy. You notice that there are some children from a very early age, they don't know what it feels like to feel sorry for someone. So those are signs that those children can become, what do you call them? They can become dangerous to the society. But as parents, we will always want to see our children as A-listers. We want to see our children as top form. They're doing well, they're doing okay. You are not helping that child. You are not helping that child. Because if you have a child that has zero emotional intelligence, a child that has no empathy, that can inflict such harm of such magnitude on another child, then you don't have a child. You have just raised a monster. You should clap for yourself for raising a monster. You didn't raise a child. You just raised a psychopath. You raised a monster. Any child that can inflict such harm, bodily harm on another child, has psychopathic tendencies. And children like that should be detained in a correctional facility, not flying them abroad. So, if we know for sure the country they are in, Interpol can be contacted. In that country, if they are citizens of those countries, they should be detained in correctional facilities for minors. Yes. That is the only way you can help them as a parent. Because you never can tell if they can do this to late Sylvester, Do you know what more they can do to another child? We hear of stories of children picking up a gun, entering into a cinema and spraying everybody there with bullets. Those children, they have mental health issues. They are not mentally stable. So as a parent, you're not helping that child by shielding that child, by hiding that child, flying him out. You're only exposing him to committing more atrocious acts. Please help your child. If you know your child has mental health issues, it is not a shameful thing to seek help on time. Seek help. Put that child on medication. We have some children that have severe anger issues, anger management issues. Those children are on medication. I know a lot of children are on medication for mental health issues. As a parent, that is the only thing you can do to help that child. Get that child medical attention. Do not risk innocent lives by allowing that child to be roaming around. We call them wearialasho. They are mentally not okay, but they are wearing clothes. You look at them, they look like they are normal. They should be on medication. So please, as parents, we should tell ourselves the truth. If you have children that have mental health issues, let them get help. Let them get help. Yes, faith rapid. You said the education system in the UK detects them early. Oh yes, in forward-thinking countries, in civilized societies, they detect this problem in children early and they start giving help to these children. But in Nigeria, everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. We're going to pray it out of him. We're going to do deliverance. By the time I tell my pastor we do 7 days fasting, he will be all right. Those days when I was younger, I used to be a Mary. They'll tell you how that child has a Mary. Now, Ogbanje, they worry that picking. There's no such thing as Ogbanje. Your child has mental health issues. If detected early enough, that child should get medical help. And then there are some parents that actually know that their children are on medication, but they fail to monitor if that child is consistently taking that medication. Children can be difficult to manage, especially teenagers. But if you know your child has mental health issues and he or she is on medication, it is your responsibility as a parent to ensure that they take their medication religiously to avoid situations like this. Because a child or children that can gang up against another child and inflict such bodily harm, those children are not mentally okay. I'm telling you for free. If you take them for mental health analysis, you will discover that they have psychopathic tendencies. So don't endanger more people to these children. Take your children, if you know they have mental health issues, start medicating them on time. Please, please. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you. I feel so much pain in my heart. You guys have no idea. So much pain. I have 4 grown-up children. Went through secondary school, day school, boarding school. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. So please, we want justice for late Sylvester. We want justice for late Karim. Help us, everybody. Help us to get justice for these children. Help us to save the future of our generation. Our children are our generation. They are our children. They are our future. They are our future. It is all we've got as a nation. Let's safeguard their lives. Let's safeguard their mental health. Children that are abused and even survive the abuse are not usually mentally sound like children that were never abused. Let us collectively create an enabling environment